Good morning to you on the last Friday of 2024. Man, that was quick.
What?
I'm Bill Bevins. I'm joined by our friend Andrea Swipe-Murdoch. Good morning, Andrea.
Good morning, Mr. B, and hello to all of you out there watching us today. I'm so happy to be here with you on this Friday. We're one step closer to the holiday weekend. We've been in the week of Christmas to New Year's, and you know the time warp that is, and so we can't wait for New Year's Eve.
Yeah, it's that time of year when those of us who are working have no problem with traffic.
That's right.
Yeah, just zoom
That's
right.
right.
Where is everybody? They're all off but us, but it's okay because we have a good time.
That's right.
We're going to do that again today. Yeah.
What a good time. It's hard to believe that the year is coming to a close.
Yeah.
It's been a good one, though. We've had a good time.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun this year.
A whole lot of fun.
Well, we do that every year.
Well, that's true.
All right, folks, we're going to enjoy a chance to see some of the fun things you've been doing, your adventures, your family, your friends. Our show and share on the air, we call it Everywhere You Are. That segment is coming up in a few minutes. We will fill in the details and tell you what we've got. All of that's coming up in our second half hour.
That's right. And who doesn't love yummy maple syrup? You wouldn't necessarily think Virginia would churn out this delicious treat, but guess again. Dave Parker takes us on a journey to Highland County for a sweet trip. It's the latest adventure in his Discover with Dave series.
You know, I was wondering where, Highland County. Well, that makes a lot of sense up there in the mountainside.
Maple syrup isn't easy, so that's quite the task.
Yeah, I'd love to see that actually coming out of the trees one time. Maybe, well, we will when Dave joins us. All right, from time to time, we get a chance to get out and interact with members of the community, learn about new things. This past summer, Amy Lacey made a visit to the Agriberry Farm and CSA in Virginia. She got some very good tips. See what we did there on growing, harvesting blackberries and raspberries. We'll share her adventure with you coming up a little bit later on in the show.
All right, so Mr. B, out with the old, in with the new.
So I gotta leave?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not you.
Okay.
Is there anything you're really looking forward to in 2025?
Wow. Summer.
I knew you were either going to say summer or cutting the grass.
Yeah, well, that's in the summer. Yeah, I'm not a winter person, so yeah, as we head into this period of the year, hard to be fired up. The only thing I get really excited about is getting through it.
Yeah.
Getting to the part where, you know, things start to grow again.
Well, summer's a good thing to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to some travel this year. And for the first time, I've actually started a list of where I want to travel, what I want to do.
Wait a minute, didn't you travel for your work for a long time?
A little bit, yeah, but that's different travel. Like taking the kids on travel and, you know, doing some
Taking the kids
staycations.
for traveling is work, girlfriend.
It is very much a trip, not a vacation.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be very exciting this year to do some staycations, some places around Virginia.
Oh, there's lots.
Just like Discover with Dave does for us. So I'm going to take a page out of his book.
Okay, very good. All right, folks, stick around. We're going to take a quick break. We'll see you in about 60 seconds.
Good morning to you. We hope your week has been wonderful, and thank you for spending a part of your Friday morning here with us. Welcome to Virginia This Morning. I'm Andrea Swipe-Murdoch.
Happy Friday to you, and thank you for the privilege of your time. We love it when you tune in each weekday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. right here on CBS 6. All right, so we've got a little time here. We've got a great show lined up, and we're going to get to that in just a second. All right, so are you ready?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about fruitcakes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's your favorite day. Mr. B loves fruitcake.
I know people like think, what do you use fruitcake for? Doorstop. I mean, Not at my house. So, and you know, it all kind of goes back to what you've experienced. So I had an uncle who used to bring all the ingredients for a fruit cake, the little candies and stuff you put in little Chinese food containers.
Okay.
And my mom would make homemade fruit cake at Thanksgiving. It would go in a closet, and there would be a little shot glass.
In the closet?
In the closet. You put it in a cake pan thing in the closet, in the dark, and back in the closet, and put this little shot glass full of rum. She made it in a bunt shape, and then the hole in the middle, this little thing of rum would go in there. And she would fill that thing up 2 or 3 times between Christmas and New Year's. It all got absorbed into the fruit cake.
You had quite the fruit cake.
Well, it was like rum cake, but it had all the candy stuff in it.
Wait, so you knew it was in the closet, but you couldn't touch it?
Oh, heck no. You couldn't touch it. So you had to wait.
So you had to wait.
Yeah.
It was worth the wait.
And so ever since, I've loved fruitcake. And, you know, I understand.
Of course you did.
It's very different from any other, you know, treat that you have. And I understand people don't like it, which is fine with me because
more for Bill.
That's more for Bill.
More for Bill. Okay, well, keeping with the fruit theme, if you're not a fan of fruit cake, how does an apple bundt cake sound?
Sounds good to me. Charlottesville-based recipe developer from The Seasoned Mom is going to share this virtual recipe, so check it out.
Visit virginiathismorning.com, click on the Recipes tab, and find your favorites to try out on your own.
Welcome back to Virginia This Morning. When most of us think of maple syrup, we think of places like Canada or the Northeast. But you may not have known that a small portion of Virginia is also able to create this delicious treat. In this week's Discover with Dave, we're heading to Highland County for maple syrup.
This segment is sponsored by Rockingham Insurance.
If you were to write a dating bio for Highland County, it might read something like this. Beautiful, doesn't like stoplights or cell service, enjoys solitude. Except for the second and third weekends of March. While one of Highland County's appeals is its lack of, well, people, it changes dramatically every March during the annual and delicious Maple Festival. Why is maple syrup popular here? The combination of elevation and cold winters in these mountains allows the maple trees to do their thing in producing sap that can be tapped. So, every March, the local farms and what are called sugar camps let the syrup run freely for tens of thousands of visitors. Getting it there is a lot of work.
That looks like it's steep. That's not steep.
Kevin Connor and his family run Mill Gap Farms. It's the kind of place that makes for a great childhood. In addition to you being able to visit, you can also stay in this cabin. This would be your view from the hot tub. In late winter to early spring, Kevin works long, hard, exhausting hours in frigid temperatures up on the mountain behind the farm. That's when the tapping season is, and it only lasts for him a matter of days. Each tree has 1 to 3 taps. There are hundreds of them that suck water into a network of tubing that laces a mountainside. Small tubes run into larger ones, which all feed into the aorta, which connects to the barn way down below. There's a whole process he could take you through, but it literally boils down to extracting the sugar out of the water, producing this golden, delicious mountain elixir.
First thing you want to start with is a light. You don't want to start with a dark because it's going to mess up your palate.
While Kevin's faith is paramount, he's also a great disciple for and maker of syrup. The tasting we had opened my eyes to how maple syrup can and should taste. My favorite was their single barrel rye whiskey maple syrup. Words I didn't even know could be used together. It was amazing. It was a privilege to be on this farm with this family and to be able to taste what is produced here. I hope you also have that chance. In Highland County, I'm Dave Parker.
Thank you, Dave. We look forward to your next adventure. For home, auto, and farm insurance, give Rockingham Insurance a call, 800-434-7736, or visit rockingham.insure to find a local agent. Mr. B, sending it your way.
Thank you very much, folks. If you can't watch our show live and want to stay up to date with our segments, you can visit virginiathismorning.com anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There are other options too, such as viewing on one of these apps: Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, Android TV channels. Now, if you need the app, just visit the App Store on your device and search WTVR Richmond. It is absolutely free. Andreas, what's coming up next?
Welcome back to our Friday edition of Virginia This Morning. Here in Central Virginia, we're very lucky to be surrounded by area farms where you can get your share of fresh fruits and vegetables, especially in the spring and summer. Our own Amy Lacey and our senior creative services producer, Stacy Sacra, took a ride out to Hanover County over the summer and picked up some tips on growing berries. Take a look.
This segment is sponsored by Agriberry Farms.
Here in Virginia, many people think that the berry season winds down with the summer season, but that is not necessarily the case. I am here with Pearson Geyer of Agriberry. Thank you for talking with me today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me today. We really appreciate the opportunity to talk to folks about fruit. It's something we're really passionate about here at Agriberry.
And you have a berry season underway right now.
Yes, that's correct. So the way that we grow red raspberries is allows us to have season extension going all the way till first frost. So we're enjoying red raspberry picking now, and we'll be picking all the way through Halloween.
What do you need to look for as you pick here in the fields, or as a consumer if they're going to a farm stand or a grocery store?
Great questions. So these plants all grew this year, so you can see they're vibrant green canes, and that's going to mean that this fruit is going to be growing this season. And you can even see little flowers and that kind of thing. That means all this will continue to ripen as long as we're fertilizing. When you're on the consumer side, you're looking for a nice red berry, and if you ask the berry if it's ripe, it'll tell you when you pull it off the vine. Red raspberries are particularly fragile. We try to get all of our red raspberries to market in the Richmond area within 48 hours of harvest, usually 24 hours. And they're delicious eaten fresh.
And I understand too that blackberries are in season here at Agriberry.
Yes, that's correct. Similar to how these are primocane producing red raspberries, we also have primocane producing blackberries. We can take a look at those in a minute.
Yeah, let's go over to the other side of the field.
Great.
How do you have blackberries this late in the season?
That's a great question. So I'm part of a professional association, the North American Raspberry and Blackberry Association, and University of Arkansas over the last 10 years has put out primocane bearing blackberries, which are a new naturally occurring breeding process for blackberries to produce on their first year canes. So we have flowers, green fruit, red fruit, and ripe black fruit all the way until first frost. And these will keep flowering and fruiting until they get hit by Jack Frost.
And blackberries do start out red.
Yes, that's correct. So you have sort of a full life cycle here. You have a closed flower that then opens up and gets pollinated. And as long as there's complete pollination, you have a green fruit begin to form that then becomes white, pink, maroon, partially black, and fully black. And if you're a consumer looking for a really tasty blackberry, These drupelets, if they look like water balloons ready to burst, that's going to be aces.
Why is it so important to buy local for that flavor?
That's exactly right. The flavor and the freshness, this berry, if it was being shipped, would probably get rejected because it just doesn't have the shelf life a lot of the grocery stores are looking for. And if you're buying local, you can get fresh fruit much closer to the source, and it can be picked riper, which can have a lot better flavor and even increase nutrient values.
And I noticed that all the berries are hand-picked, and that AgriBerry, you really want to hire first-time workers for your operation.
Yes, absolutely. So we are hand harvesting all the fruit that's here. Because of how delicate ripe fruit is, it really does need to be hand harvested. And it also allows the opportunity for young workers to engage in more understanding of their agricultural systems. So they really understand where their food's coming from, the work that goes into getting fresh fruit to the grocery store, to the table, or to the farmer's market.
AgriBerry, you have such a strategic mission here in the local area. Tell us a bit more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a second-generation farmer. My parents have been farming since the mid-'80s, and in 2008, my mom started AgriBerry with a social mission both to employ young workers and engage young people in first-time job experience, as well as had a CSA, which supports the marketing side of the business and gives everybody a little share of the crop.
So we are going to take what we picked here in the field and take it into the kitchen for a jam making session. Sound good to you?
Great. Yeah.
We will have more of that for you coming up after the break. There's more Virginia This Morning.
This segment is sponsored by AgriBerry Farms.
Welcome back to Virginia This Morning. Just a few moments ago, we were out in the fields here at AgriBerry. I'm with Pearson Geyer, General Manager, and we picked some raspberries and blackberries, and now you brought us into the commercial kitchen, and it is time to make some magic happen.
Yeah, exactly right. So we talked a little bit about season extension of fresh fruit out in the field and how we're able to go to first frost. But AgriBerry does employ over a dozen full-time workers, and part of the equation for that is to have season extension through jam making. So once that fresh fruit season is wrapped up, then our kitchen really shines, and we're able to get some of the bumped and bruised berries that don't do as well as market into the freezer during the season, and then in the downtime we're able to make jam with that.
And I washed up for health standards, put on my hat, and I'm actually going to help with the process now. You have some of those berries cooking right here, and tell us a little bit about the differences between jelly, jam, and preserves.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to answer that. So this is our signature blend of blackberries and raspberries called AgriBlend, and this produces an AgriBlend jam. Jelly, jam, and preserves form a spectrum of texture. So jelly is going to be the most homogeneous in texture, and it's going to have sort of the most gelatinous aspect, and that's much more common to see in grocery stores. Jam is in the middle and is most of what we produce here, and you're going to see reminiscent aspects of fruit. It's not going to be full-on chunks. That's where we get into preserves, but you're going to get more variation in texture in a jam, and it's going to be a little thicker than a jelly. And then our strawberry, cherry, and our peach are all a preserve. So those really have like chunks of fruit in them, and they're still spreadable, but they are pretty chunky and more sort of home style feeling.
What are some of the other ingredients besides the fresh fruit that you put in here?
Yeah, so we really want our jam to be fruit forward in terms of flavor and in terms of nutrition. So our jam has about 60% less added sugar than leading grocery store jams. And we have a very simple ingredient list. We have fruit, we have sugar, we have a little bit of pectin, which is it is a naturally occurring thickening agent. Actually, berries have pectin in them, and you can make jam that doesn't even have pectin from naturally occurring pectin in berries, but it just gives us a more standardized product. And for most of our jams, that's a complete ingredient list.
So from something like this, the pot, the actual cooking process, then we go to the pouring process. So you really do have the assembly line in the commercial kitchen here. And Harry, you're the kitchen manager, and you're going to show me exactly what you do then with that cooked down portion.
So what we do is we have this jam already ready to go. I'm going to stir in that little bit of condensation just so it's not there anymore. And what we do is take our handy dandy dipper, dip in. This is also really hot, so try not to get your fingers into it.
Yeah.
It was just boiling. And then what we do is we get here, aim in, pour it, and I'm aiming for right about there.
Okay.
I'm gonna do the first 3 and then I'm gonna let you have it.
Okay, you'll let me take it away. We'll see if I'm learning anything from your expertise today.
Yes, ma'am. And that one, of course, didn't make the cut, but I'll let you take over.
Okay, so then I can just fill it up like this?
Nope.
Oh,
Use this one to fill it up,
okay.
and that way we're not dripping all over the place.
Sure. Okay, here we go. And Pearson, talk to me a little bit about where folks can then find the jam.
Yeah, absolutely. The best place to find all of our products is any local farmers market in the Richmond area. If you visit agriberry.com, we have the full spread of our markets available there. But pretty much all the farmers markets here in the Richmond area we're at. And we have all of our jams and jellies available there. We also do wholesale and sell to a lot of local grocery stores as well as local restaurants that utilize our jam on their shelves and in their products.
And you said that this is really a part of the season extension. When you were growing up on a fruit farm, did you ever think that you would see the day when we can be talking about wintertime, the winter season upon us, and the growing and the selling is possible?
Actually, yes. A lot of these jarring techniques are pretty heritage, and the sort of the most advanced technology going on here is just kettles and boiling water. So this preservation technique, once we get these full, we get lids on there. We have these kettles over here with boiling water, and that'll actually vacuum seal this so that it's shelf stable. But we've been canning here in America for hundreds of years, so we are able to sort of keep that fresh fruit flavor going well into the wintertime.
Refrigeration hasn't always been a possibility in our society, so this really is one of those lost arts for many communities.
Yes, it absolutely is. And we are, there are classes that you can take. Check local extension, different counties. Prince Edward County has classes that they have at their cannery, and the Hanover Cannery is actually looking at getting off the ground again. They used to offer canning classes to just the general public, and they're in an idea space to be able to open that space up again.
It was so great to talk to you today about really the whole process, from the field to the kitchen and then to the shelves. So it is a wonderful opportunity to be here. So thank you so much, Pearson.
Absolutely. Thank you, Amy. We really appreciate you.
Do you think I'm hired based on what you saw here today?
You're in.
Thank you. I'll see you down on the farm.
Great.
We'll also have their website on our website, virginiathismorning.com.
A big shout out to the team at Agriberry Farm and CSA. We appreciate you hosting, Amy and Stacy.
They had a great time out there. Folks, you can make plans next year, and this would be a fun day trip for everybody in the family. They are located at 6289 River Road in Hanover, Virginia. For more information, give them a call, 804-537-0448, or visit them online at info@agriberry.com.
This next segment is a very interesting one. We shared it a few months ago, but it never gets old because we've all experienced it at some point. Here's a question for you. How do you classify your actions when it comes to an uncomfortable disagreement with someone? Do you take it all in and then calmly address it, or are you impulsive and jump right in? Bill?
No comment. All right, in this segment, a mental toughness expert shared some great advice with Amy about why you should respond versus react in a challenging situation.
Quickly to
Check
the
it out.
situation, and then after the dust settles, you may end up regretting that decision. Our great friend, mental toughness expert, author, and former United States Marine Eric Rittmeyer is here to talk about how we can learn to respond versus react. thank you for coming in today.
Amy, so happy to be here. Thanks for having me back.
What is the difference between reacting and responding?
Yeah, most people hear that and it sounds like the same thing, right? So here's the difference between the two. We're emotional creatures. We're hardwired to feel first and think later. Most of us go through life reacting to situations. It's very emotion-based. Something happens, we react. Responding is when we're able to process information logically and then have a more appropriate response to the situation. As opposed to flying off the handle, doing something we're going to regret, we learn to respond. We process the information and then we say, you know what, I should probably sit on this for a second and then have a proper response to the situation.
What about those uncomfortable situations or maybe scenarios that aren't that familiar to us? Is there a way that you can sort of rehearse for when that comes to play?
That's actually a awesome way you word it, and yes, you can, most certainly. It's kind of like being on a diet, right? So if you're going to a party, you know there's tons of food there, you eat before you go. You get your head of lettuce, you drink your water, you go there. You don't eat as much when you're there. Same thing when you get put in these situations where you know you're going to be dealing with people. The holidays are coming up. We get put in these situations with the cousin Eddies who come into town to try to stoke you. You have to mentally prepare for these things so you can go through the scenarios and say to yourself, okay, if this happens, this is how I'm going to respond. That way when somebody says something, you don't automatically fly off the handle.
Something that with my work, I've learned to be a very active listener, and that's not something that is natural for a lot of people. Even myself, you have to really learn how to listen and stay in the moment. How can being a listener help in these kinds of situations where you maybe are going to react or respond?
Yeah, in TV world, you all are so good at that. And here's the issue. It takes a ton of practice. Here's why. We're hardwired to, when we're listening to somebody, when they're talking, we're only listening long enough to formulate our response. So we're listening with the intent to reply, as opposed to listening with the intent to understand. If we're truly trying to hear what someone's saying, we're processing that information. We don't wait for this microsecond break in the conversation to jump back with a reply. We listen truly with the intent to understand. When we do that, the other person feels like they're being heard. In hostile situations, it works really well, because ultimately all that person wants, just make me feel like you're listening to me. Don't have to agree, make me feel like you're listening to me. Most people in normal communication, we're only listening long enough to formulate that response. Everything else is Charlie Brown talk.
Why did you decide to bring this to people's, raise awareness about it, the reacting versus responding? What in your work made you realize that this needed to be more of a conversation?
It's the emotional piece, Amy. So emotion and logic are inversely related. Emotion goes up, logic goes down. Logic goes up, emotion goes down. When you get so overcome in emotion that you can't think logically, I call this emotional intoxication. You're just incapable of logical thought processes. My obsession with this began once I recognized that we're all human. We all go through this. We all experience this. We all get fueled. We all say things and do things we regret. Why not try to convey the message to people to say, hey, you have the ability to control these things. You just have to be educated on it. Our school system doesn't teach us this. We're taught to shut off the emotion, ignore it, suppress it, deny it. These are all things that are impossible, as opposed to learning to recognize it, then control it.
How can we find that balance?
It's not
reacting and responding.
It all starts with knowing the triggers, knowing when something's been said, knowing when something's been done. As soon as that happens, if we can recognize internally, if we're self-aware enough to be like, okay, what just happened triggered me emotionally? What I'm getting ready to say and do, I have to be very careful of, because I'm probably going to act in a way that's not normal. So once you know you're in an emotional state of mind, instead of trying to ignore it, which you can too, you can just learn to now control it and use it in a positive manner to build deeper relationships, to not get into a fist fight when you're stopped at a stoplight because somebody's tailgating you. Not difficult stuff, but we get no training on it.
You said that key phrase too, that self-awareness, because sometimes it's just a matter of stepping back and almost having an out-of-body experience and just seeing what you do and maybe issues that come up when you react versus respond.
This is Emotional Intelligence 101. It's self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, social skill. The awareness piece is so critical, especially in a society where I think most people have no clue. They're not aware at all. They say and do things that they don't understand, might upset other people, might offend other people, might trigger other people. And then the regulation piece is once you're aware, then you have to regulate. It's difficult to do. Anyone can learn. That's the great thing about emotional intelligence. It's not like IQ. You're born smart or not smart. I'm not a smart person. I wasn't born that way. But I can learn how to better communicate with people. We can all learn these skills that translate really well into at-home relationships, also at work relationships.
You mentioned too that, you know, like culturally in schools we're told to suppress emotion. We're taught all of these different things. You can unteach yourself in a way, and you can learn to do it in an effective way.
You sure can, especially as men, as boys. This is something that's a major broken system. Boys are taught to not express how they feel. We need to give them an emotional vocabulary, this feelings vocabulary, to help them understand 100% of your feelings are okay. For you, for me, for everyone, regardless of age. Every emotion's okay. It's how we respond to them that's important. So instead of trying to teach people something that's impossible to do, which is to suppress, let's teach them to learn and then express it accordingly so they don't put themselves in the bad situations.
This all is mental toughness. I can see why you're an expert in it. Thank you so much for coming in today, Eric. This is really important information that we can take today and we can apply it as the days go on.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful information.
Appreciate it.
For more information, just visit our show website by early this afternoon. Check out virginiathismorning.com.
Invest 529 and CBS 6 are proud partners in presenting Battle of the Brains every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. This week, Collegiate School will face off against Midlothian High School. And now, here's your chance to play. Answer the following question correctly for your chance to win an Invest 529 account worth $529. Here's today's question. Who can the beneficiary of Invest 529 accounts A? See, this is why I read things in advance. Who can be an investor? Yeah. Take 4. We'll be done by lunchtime. Oh, okay. Okay. Here's today's question. Who can be the beneficiary of an Invest 529 account? A, any individual regardless of age. B, your pet goldfish. C, only newborns. Or D, your imaginary friends. Submit your answer now to wtvr.com/BOB for your chance to win. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We love sharing the fun and exciting moments you've had with your friends, family, and pets. You can dance after the show. Please continue sending them in so we can share them on Virginia This Morning. All right, here we go. Michelle Shapaker is sending holiday greetings from sunny and warm Miami Beach. Ooh, good for her. Oh, that's where I want to be. Yeah. Oh, man. Next time ask us to go along. Yeah, pack us in your suitcase, please, would you? Coming up next, Cindy Joan Hortzman hosted a holiday party at Hathaway Towers this season. She said, "We are so lucky to live so close to so many great restaurants, shops, and everything in the River City." Wait a minute, this looks like quite the party. Yeah. Uh-huh. Having a party over there? All right. Oh, yeah. Looks like a grand old time. Thank you for sharing. And the Myers family got in on the holiday fun. Here's a photo from their gathering. Look at those hats. That looks like fun. I love it. I love it. Well, if you're having fun with your family, friends, and pets, we'd like to share in the adventure while staying connected to you. All you have to do is send us a high-resolution JPEG image or video to one of our social media pages. Please send us a video, picture, or comment to our Virginia This Morning Facebook or Instagram page, or make it easy. Just email it to virginiathismorning@wtvr.com. In the meantime, if your roof is aging and you're unsure whether or not you need to replace it, before you decide, check out what Roof Renew can do for you.
Today's Roof Report, sponsored by Roof Renew.
I had called 3 different roofing companies to ask them if they could come out and do repairs, and 2 of them said they don't do repairs. The 3rd one came out and they said they do repairs, but they ended up giving me a quote to replace my entire roof. And I knew that wasn't necessary because our roof is not that old. So because I had searched for roof repair, Roof Renew came up in my feed, and I did some research and I called, and it was just the most wonderful experience dealing with a service organization that I've had. The roof renew process did exactly what I needed it to do. The crew touched up all of the cracks before they did the process. Everything was just perfect. I would absolutely recommend Roof Renew because it really enhanced the appearance of my roof. It was just exactly what my roof needed, so I'm very pleased.
Today's Roof Report has been sponsored by Roof Renew.
She's a powerhouse speaker, an entrepreneur, a New York Times bestseller, a co-pastor of One Los Angeles, and on the leadership team of the Potter's House Dallas. She's the daughter of the one and only Bishop T.D. Jakes. You guessed it. I'm speaking of Sarah Jakes Roberts, who is celebrating the release of her new book, Power Moves, on a book tour that's headed to the DMV. So, Sarah, welcome to Virginia This Morning.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you.
And we are excited to have you. Thank you for bringing your tour over to the East Coast, in Maryland, specifically in Upper Marlboro this weekend. You've had countless awards and you've been recognized internationally for your impacts. And most recently, the Time 100 Next named you an emerging thought leader for this generation. What does that honor mean to you?
It's honestly a bit overwhelming because I never anticipated that my life would be on this trajectory. But I am grateful that my growth and my own desire to just really see myself discover what love and authenticity and restoration look like has inspired so many to do the same.
Absolutely. And I was looking at the cover of the book, which is just so striking as it is, but it has a few words on the front and it says, ignite your confidence and become a force. Now, you have been very open about your story and all that has brought you to where you are. What would you say is the mission behind this particular book?
My desire with this book was to help people who had felt powerless, like I have felt, in just doing everyday things, speaking up in meetings, advocating for ourselves and our relationships, to recognize that that powerlessness does not have to become their norm. And I wanted to help them pinpoint the areas where they feel stifled and to give them the confidence to really figure out what is it that I want to say, who is it that I want to be instead, and how do I begin to move in the direction of that person. And so this book is very near and dear to my heart because so many of us may not say, oh, I want to be powerful, but many of us can relate to the idea of I don't want to feel powerless. And so my prayer is that people are going to really have an encounter with authenticity that allows them to release the gift of them everywhere they go.
Absolutely beautiful. Now, we're going to see a bit of this come out on stage during the book tour. And I hear you've got some special guests who are going to be joining you. So, if you can, who's joining you? And if you can't, what can we expect for the book tour experience?
Oh, goodness. The book tour experience is going to be an interactive evening where you and an intimate group of people begin to pinpoint and identify areas where you have felt stuck and stagnant. You will be motivated and inspired to really own your power and to release that power. And I've got some guests. We are doing 7 cities, and Nedra Glover Tawab, Latoya Luckett, Dr. Cindy Trim, Nona Jones, Lauren London, Risa Tisa, Jason Boland, Adrian Houghton. We have so many guests throughout the entire tour, but my prayer is that it's going to be something that literally makes you feel like you are starting that path from the moment you step into the room, and that when you leave the room that you're just smooth sailing in the flow of power that was always available to you.
Absolutely. It's such a beautiful, beautiful project, and I look forward to reading it as well. Now, you are headed out on tour, you're on tour already, and it's ending with a virtual event. So you don't necessarily have to be in person for each one. Is the virtual event similar or different than what we'll see in person?
The virtual event will be similar to what we do in person. We're going to record one of the cities. I think the city that really just helps us to nail the message of this book, which outside of just owning your power, is also living with the reality that power is fluid, right? So I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm all of those things that you listed when you were naming my biography. And what power looks like in each of those roles is constantly moving. And so we really want to make sure that we are spreading this message with intentionality so that people feel the liberation to flow in power, whatever that looks like. Power after grief, power after heartbreak, power moves. And just because you had power in a previous season doesn't mean you don't have access to it now. So I think virtual is the best way to show that power moves, because we're going to be able to be in so many more cities than us just packing up the bus and going to the select few that we're doing for this tour.
Absolutely. And I can say you have been so inspiring to me, as we were talking about before we got started. There are just so many things that I had, nuggets that I've gotten, inspiring moments just in the midst that I needed them, just in that moment that it was like, oh, I needed that word. And I'm so grateful for what you do and the ways that you share. And you're so personable and just so down to earth with your message and what you've been through. So thank you for doing this tour. Thank you for the books that you continue to put out that are New York Times bestsellers. We look forward to continuing to hear a bit about how we can live and breathe our power each and every day, and look forward and wish you all the success.
Oh, thank you so much. It's absolutely my honor to share the lessons I am learning along the way. And I'm grateful that I've had an opportunity to serve you as well.
And we hope you have so much fun in Upper Marlboro, Maryland on May 3rd. There's still time to get tickets, I think, and still time to enjoy the virtual event as well.
For sure. The DMV girlies made me feel so at home. So it feels like a homecoming. I lived there. I lived in Virginia for a few years. So being in the DMV has a lot of nostalgia. I can't wait to be there.
Absolutely. Well, safe travels to you. We look forward to seeing you very, very soon. And thank you once again.
Thank you.
For those of you who are looking forward to getting your tickets to the Power Moves Tour, make sure you visit our website, virginiathismorning.com. Don't wait. Get your tickets.
Welcome back to our Friday edition of Virginia This Morning on National Fruitcake Day.
Your favorite?
Yeah, I love fruitcake. Yeah.
Of course, we'd like to thank all of our guests that appear each weekday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
And
well, wait a minute. Before we go, though, if anybody has any leftover fruitcake that they didn't want, just get in touch.
Bill has it. And we're going to try. We've got to find one in a bunt pan so we can do the rum absorption method. Yeah, we'll figure that out. We'll report back. Don't worry. Well, we leave you today with a performance from one of the bands that we've featured for the past 10 years.
Love these folks. Here's the Johnny Lee Long Band with I Fancy You. Enjoy a great and safe holiday weekend, and we look forward to seeing you again Monday morning, start at 8:56 a.m.
You're the one I've dreamed of. I fancy you. You're the one I'm in need of. I fancy you. I do fancy you. I fancy you. You're the breath I'm in need of.